34% in U.S. identify as socially conservative versus 30% as socially liberal. Social liberalism has gained since 2001, while conservatism has waned. White, college-educated, older Democrats drive leftward shift. Washington, D.C., Gallup's annual measurement of how Americans describe their views on social issues finds social liberals nearly tying with social conservatives for the fifth straight year. This is a change from 2001 through 2012, when social conservatives had the clear lead, including by 17 percentage point margins in 2009 and 2010. In Gallup's latest update, conducted May 3 to 7, 34% of Americans describe their views as conservative or very conservative, while 30% identify as liberal or very liberal. Another 34% call themselves moderate and 2% are unsure. Gallup measures Americans' ideology on social issues annually as part of its Values and Beliefs survey, conducted each May. Democrats fueling rise in social liberalism. The increase in social liberalism has not been universal, but has occurred mainly among Democrats. The percentage of Democrats describing themselves as socially liberal increased fairly steadily from 36% in 2001 to 53% 2015, where it has since held. By contrast, Republicans' propensity to identify as socially liberal has hardly changed, consistently registering around 10%. In order to see whether the liberal shift in Democrats' social views is universal within the Democratic ranks, or limited to certain subgroups, Gallup has grouped its annual data into 4 time periods, allowing for larger sample sizes to evaluate the trends in Democratic subgroups. The earliest time period is from 2001 through 2005, when an average 37% of Democrats identified as socially liberal. The most recent period is from 2015 to 2017, when the figure held at 53%. As shown in the accompanying table, social liberalism has risen among all major demographic subgroups of Democrats, as well as in the 4 main regions of the country. However, there are some notable differences. After expressing similar views as Democratic men about their social ideology in all 3 time periods between 2001 and 2014, Democratic women grew more likely to identify as socially liberal in the last 3 years. Still, at least half of both groups are now socially liberal, 55% of women and 50% of men. Older Democrats have shifted much more strongly toward social liberalism than have younger Democrats. As a result, after being far less liberal than younger adults in the early 2000s, those 55 and older are now about as liberal as those 35 to 54, 50% and 48% respectively, although neither of the 2 older groups are as liberal as those 18 to 34, 61%. Democratic college graduates have traditionally been more liberal than Democrats without a college degree. However, the gap has widened since the early 2000s as college graduates have grown 18 percentage points more likely to identify as socially liberal, compared with a 12-point increase among non-college grads. As of 2015 to 2017, 71% of college graduates are socially liberal versus 44% of non-college graduates. Most of the increase in social liberalism among Democrats since the early 2000s has occurred among non-Hispanic whites. Whereas just 39% of white Democrats said they were liberal on social issues back in 2001 to 2005, that has risen to 61% since 2015 to 2017. By contrast, blacks' views have hardly changed, 34% in the 2001 to 2005 period versus 37% in 2015 to 2017. Thus, the overall gap in self-identification as socially liberal between whites and blacks has widened from 5 points in the earliest time period to 24 points most recently. In the early 2000s, Democrats in the West were significantly more likely than Democrats in the other regions to identify as liberal. However, since then the rest